One. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to segment 2 of Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 52. And, you guys are getting an opportunity to see our first scheduled Be Live, which means that we are recording this on December 19th, and it will be going live on December 24th. So that'll be kind of trippy for me to see because I'll actually be able to watch myself live on December 24th. So I'm here with Scott Warren. He's the owner of Heights Apparel, and he's a member of the fabric community. He's part of the Fashion Forth with Fabric series that I'm doing in 2020. And so, Scott, I want to welcome you and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So I have a clothing line called Heights Apparel, and we make lifestyle casual clothing for tall guys, 6'3" to 7' plus. So there's a bunch of tall, skinny dudes out there that can't find clothing in their size and the way it should fit them. And so I'm looking to really just solve that problem and, at the very least, make some really good clothing for myself.
I'm super fascinated. I'm super because I can see like the tall, skinny guys in my life, and their clothing never fits them well. So I think I already know the why, because nobody likes to walk around with, if you've got super long arms, having like a tent everywhere else in your body, right? I mean, but I imagine there's probably a deeper why for you. I mean, have you always been a tall, skinny guy, like your whole life?
I have always been tall and super, super skinny. I am 6'7" now. I am about 205, but I've always been tall and skinny. I mean, I was a twig coming out of high school. I was 6'5" and about 165 coming out of high school. Going into college on scholarship for volleyball. And, obviously the first thing that when the coaches see me is like, okay, well, we're going to spend a lot of time in the weight room, that sort of deal. It's a blessing, but it's also, it's a pain in the butt. Let's just say that when, in terms of clothing itself, it's always been a problem. And I'm a guy that has always had a thing or an eye for like style. I have a size 16 shoe and I love shoes. And that's a big problem because most companies don't make the good stuff in your size. And so I'm just left to drool. My wife probably likes it because it saves us on the money side. Otherwise I'd be buying probably a pair of shoes every week if I could.
What's really funny? Like, as you're talking, my mom was 5'8". She's probably a little smaller now because she's gotten older, but tall for her generation.
Right,
and
right.
My Aunt Terry, who's my godmother, was like a little peanut, right? So they used to go shoe shopping, and my Aunt Terry has like little tiny, Cinderella feet. And my mom, she's going to hate me for, hopefully, Mom, don't hold it against me. My mom has a size 10 foot, which is not a big foot.
Right.
But for me, at the time, it was a big foot. So my aunt used to say to my mother, "Don't worry, Carmel. I buy the shoe, and you can wear the box."
Yeah, right. It's insane. It's insane. It's in fact, I saw a buddy a couple weeks ago. We went to a Suns game, and it was his birthday, and his wife got these pair of shoes, and I was like drooling over them. And so, like, naturally, that night after I got home, I went and looked up where can I find these shoes, and they only went up to a size 14, and I was very, very sad to see that.
Right?
Yeah, it's one of those deals where if shoes, pants, shirts, whatever it may be, if I find someone that has it in my size, I have to buy it out. I just buy it out. I'll buy at least two pairs of each, if not more, because not only if they make it in that size, it's very, very limited quantity in that size. So when it's gone, it's gone. And I've learned my lesson the hard way with a lot of that is by like just kind of like stalling and not pulling the trigger on it. And next thing you know, it's gone and I can't find it anymore ever. Right. And so when I see something out there that I like and that I know I like, and it's in my size, I mean, I have to just buy it out, or because I will never find it again. And it's crazy that that's even a possibility, that I can't just buy that.
And it's not just tall and thin people. Like, I have a hard time. I'm supposedly the right proportions as per, I forget what that song is that gives someone's dimensions. Like, I have that hourglass thing, but a lot of people don't. So and it's hard for me to find things that'll fit my hips but are small enough for my waist. So I find
Absolutely.
that with pants are actually super hard for me to buy. So a lot of times I'll default to skirts or dresses because they're easier, because it's really hard for me to find something small enough for my waist, big enough for my legs and hips, and long enough for my legs. So I
Yeah.
think that we all have, I think everyone's got an issue with clothing, but the average size for a woman is a size 12 right now. And I imagine, you know what the average size is for a man? The height
I
and
don't know
size?
what I don't know what the average size is, but
You're
let's
not
just say I'm not it,
it. Yeah.
but let's just say most, like for instance,
Right.
pant lengths typically in stores stop at 34.
And you're a what?
I'm up between a 36 and 38 length.
Wow.
So
I mean, that's like super duper long.
yeah, so I settle for 36 because that's most of the places that I can find it in my, and I'm a 33 size waist, so I'm
Right.
skinny but long, and I settle for 36, which gets me by, but it's not. Again, it boils down to, it's like, well,
That's the
it's
right fit.
not exactly what I need. And so it's like, why is that not out there? And I know there's a ton of other guys out there that have the same problem. I played a sport. I played volleyball for 17 years, and that sport is dominated by slim cut,
Tall, thin
really
guy.
tall dudes.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
And
I
super
mean,
duper strong. I mean, I know that the women
yeah,
volleyball players are like brick houses, man. You guys are
yeah.
strong. I mean, it's no joke. You got to
And
jump.
that's a problem.
You got to
Right,
do
and that's the
it.
problem that I have is that what I've noticed in the pants that I do have, I wear slim cut pants, and my calves get caught up. It bunches up in my calves, so it's like there's not enough room in the calf area or in the thigh area for my legs, and so I may be super skinny up top, but I have like really big legs,
Yeah.
and so that's an issue that I have, and that's something that I'm working on solving right now, because I'm in the process of developing with Fabric and Angela and Sherry over there, my first line of denim, which I'm super excited about because I know that's going to solve a big problem for
Oh,
the tall guy
huge.
community.
I mean, I don't know what the statistics are, but I know that your demographic, there's a definite need for it. That's just totally awesome. And I love that you're doing it at Fabric. So I was telling you pre-show that I really believe in what Fabric is doing from a sustainability standpoint, from a business standpoint.
Yeah,
It's good business for Arizona. It's smart. It's good
absolutely.
for the environment. There's just so many awesome things about Fabric. Anybody can go down on a Friday at, I think it's Friday at 11 o'clock. I'm not sure what the time. I might be blipping on the time. But if you go to, if you just Google Fabric Tempe, you can go for a tour of the facility and see the amazing stuff that Fabric is doing. And if you have ever had a dream to make your own clothing line, this is a great place to do it, because I'll make small numbers as opposed to doing bazillions of numbers. So people like yourself who are starting on a new line, it's really a godsend, right? And you kind of accidentally stumbled upon it, which is even cooler.
Yeah, I do. I can't stress enough, and I tell as many people as I can about this, is I have no idea where I would be had Fabric not come across my path.
Wow, that's
Honestly,
awesome.
no joke. There
That's
are so many nuances to the apparel manufacturing industry in itself that you're literally just walking blind unless you have someone there, or someone that is of the industry that can help you navigate the pitfalls that you may encounter. And even with their guidance, I still make mistakes, right?
I
Because I'm a newbie at this.
yeah.
I'm literally, I'm a newbie, and that's why, like, as soon as I discovered, I went on the tour. I met Angela. I
She's
started taking one.
fantastic. Don't you just love her? You just want to pick her up and
She's
kiss her?
amazing. Well, and she's taught
Awesome.
me everything. Like, I as soon as I did that, I started taking one-on-one sessions with her where she started teaching me how to draw flat sketches and help me. And from there, I took every class I could with her. And then then she was like, okay, well, this is the last step. Like, now let's get your tech pack going for your t-shirt and so forth. And so from there, it was just kind of building on from that.
And what's amazing is Angela was in LA and you were in LA and you met here in Phoenix.
Yeah. Isn't that
Isn't
funny?
it funny how life works?
Yeah.
So what do you think the biggest lesson that you've learned about being in business is so far?
Well, you're going to make mistakes. That's for sure. And you got to,
Amen.
that's
All
the
day
thing
long.
is, more importantly, you have to learn not to dwell on your mistakes. Fail fast, pivot, um, you know, what's funny is the business learnings I've had over the last year and a half, when I really started to ramp up this business, it's been just as much as a personal growth factor
Oh,
from as
100%.
well.
Yeah.
And you learn so much about yourself along the way. And I think that's what has made this journey so impactful to me, is because not only have I learned so much and have grown so much as a business person, but I've also grown personally quite a bit, and learning about myself a lot more. So it's been this weird growth period over the last year where I've really kind of, I hate to say exposed, but I mean I've exposed some of my own like shortcomings and things that I need to shore up on personally
Right.
and professionally, in order to keep this thing moving in the right direction and ultimately become successful. I mean that's my goal, is obviously to build a successful business, and that way I can build something long term and grow it and scale it. And so there's been so many, just you got to trust your instincts. That's the biggest one.
You know, it's
Stop
funny,
doubting
as
yourself.
you're talking, what you're describing is exactly why I created Relentless Talk Radio and
That's
why
why I
I
think it's so
interview
amazing.
people live. And
Yeah,
I tell you right in advance, like, I'm not going to edit this. This is totally raw. If you
I love
screw
it.
up, I screw up, the internet's not right, I
Right,
mess up the screen, we're leaving it. Because I
right,
want people to see that you absolutely, like, this is the first time I've done a scheduled broadcast. There could be something horrible that happens on the 24th. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Let's find out, right? So I
right.
want people to see me actually trying something and learning on the fly, screwing up, making mistakes, and vice versa with the
Yeah,
guest. Because I think people think that you have to have all your ducks in a row, and then once you get the money and the ducks and everything in a row, and everything's certain and stable, then I'll get started. And that is just not reality. If you wait till then, you'll wait your entire life and you'll never
yep,
do something of your own. You'll
yeah,
absolutely be waiting in the hallway your whole life. And it's that way personally, professionally. It's just the way it is. You're never going to be perfect. You can strive toward perfection, but you're never going to be there. And the only way to get from, gee, I can't find a pair of pants to fit, to getting something to market, is it's going to be messy. You're
it
going to
is.
screw up if you haven't done anything before, and you know you got a piece of fabric. Once you cut it, it's like, shoot, I just ruined it. It's okay. I got to buy
Yep.
more. I haven't got any money, but oh well, you know. So you have to figure it out. Figure it out while you're going, and that's just the whole reason why I do the show the way I do it.
And
It's
I love it. I love that. And it is. It's like, oh, I mean, like, what sort of journey is it if it doesn't have any conflict or adversity, right? It's
Oh,
not a
it's a
journey.
total bore, right? We wouldn't watch a
Yeah,
movie if we knew what the ending was going to be in the beginning, and it
exactly.
was going to be totally predictable, right? We love cliffhangers. That's what your life is when you become an entrepreneur. So that kind of leads me to what our over topic is, and you actually helped me to choose the over topic when in our pre-interview on the show. Was I'm thinking, what can I ask Deanna Evans and Scott Warren that they'll both be able to speak to? And so the question is, like, you know, the topic this week is being original because everyone else is taken. So when's a time when you had made a clear, conscious decision to be an original rather than be a duplicate of somebody else?
Well, I mean, I think the clothing line in itself is a good example of that. I am it's
Excellent example.
there's nothing carbon copy about what I'm doing with and the demographic that I'm targeting with Heights Apparel. It's not. Even with the designs that I do for like the t-shirts and that sorts of things, it's about adding that personal touch to the designs that will make it separate itself, right? And I think I mentioned to you in the preview, it's a unique balance that we have to play. It's about being cognizant of what is trending out there or around you and within your section that you're focused in, but then looking at those things and being able to add your touch, right? And so I go back to me as an editorial storyteller working in post production. Every editor out there needs to add their own touch to their stories that they're telling to make it unique to them, their style, right? They're
Right.
known for their styles, just like a filmmaker. Quentin Tarantino is known for his style, right, of his filmmaking. But it's
Exactly. It doesn't.
this
You can
journey
be
to get there.
literally blindfolded and listen to one of Tarantino's films and know it was him.
Right, absolutely. And so I think that's where I'm at right now is I don't want to take that leap just yet where I'm stepping outside the box completely because I'm just launching the brand. We're really getting things rolling and ramping up right now. I need to make sure that I'm nailing as perfectly as possible the simple stuff so that I can then start stepping outside of the box and the mold and really start pushing the envelope. And so, and this is where I think this is where I honestly think that regardless of what industry you're in, where people make missteps, is that they try to make that leap to that jump too quickly. You know, I've always told by a lot of my mentors, right? You got to learn the rules before you can break the rules, right? And I
Also
still
says that
feel like I'm learning the rules.
abstraction. He says you have to know
Right,
how to paint reality. And if you actually see Picasso's early work, he was an incredible landscape painter.
right, right. And I think there's a natural. Every person has their own journey in that, and so where I am at currently right now, it's about I have a lot of creative ideas in the back of my head. I have actually a fall collection that I'm trying to release next fall called Northbound, and this is part of that first step of stepping outside and doing something original. It's called Northbound, and it's focused about getting away from the city, detaching, turning off your phone, and just connecting with nature. So naturally, everything's going to be focused around mountains and trees, earth tones, and those sorts of aspects. So some of the early product that I'm going to have in it is a long sleeve T-shirt. I have a beanie, a hat, and I want to be able to do a flannel within that as well, and maybe a jacket if I can squeeze that in.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of like my first step to making Heights Apparel unique to my creative ambition. Um, I'm a storyteller. I always has been. I always have been. And that's what I do as my main trade skill, telling the stories of businesses and people and that sort of thing through editorial. But I see a lot of parallels with how I can apply my ability as a storyteller to tell stories through clothing, and I want to be able to do that. And right now, here and now, it's
I
about
love that. That's
nailing, yeah. And it's really weird how how that thought has evolved over the past 2 years. I started to see that parallel with me as a storyteller creatively, and then being able to apply that same mentality and philosophy to clothing. So Northbound, so there's a whole story behind Northbound, why that's a unique collection and what that's about, right? As I explained a second ago. So I think that's where I'm starting to see that ability where I can separate and make things a little bit more original to me, and then put it out there for the world.
It's interesting because you and I have that in common. I'm a visual storyteller, and the Relentless Talk Radio is this year. All the interviews in a month are going to inspire a painting. So a few of the pieces that you see behind are from past shows. And so I tell a story, then I illustrate it. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is in my first show, the entrepreneurs that I interviewed for that show needed to be, grossing more than or netting more than $250,000 a piece. So they needed to be people that had achieved some type of success. And these are the folks that actually could walk into a gallery and purchase a painting, not just for myself, but from anybody. And so one of the gentlemen said, Michelle, I never realized that art had a story. And I thought, what do you mean? Of course art has a story. To him, he hadn't been exposed to art. So for him, it was like if it matched his couch and the look and feel that his designer wanted him to have, then it was fine. But the piece that he purchased from me was the first time that he realized that art had a story because it was his story.
Right.
So I think it's really cool that you're calling your clothing story. You're telling a story with clothing. That's awesome. And I both talked about pre-interview that I'll be doing a line, I'm hoping this year, but it might end up being next year based upon my workload, that will take some of the entrepreneurs, both female and male, that I've interviewed in the past and inspiring an article of clothing, and I'll have 2 lines with a men and a women's line. So I love that you're building the story into it. So you have a couple things that you wanted to share with us, and one of them was about your challenges in life and business. I purposely didn't ask you about this pre-show so I could be wowed while you're telling the story. So what is it about your life and business that really has inspired this line?
Well, it's I've faced a lot of adversity in life, broken home, dysfunctional family, um, you know, some emotional abuse and that sort of thing, and
Mhm.
that has propelled me to become very self-reliant, self-sufficient, which is great to a certain extent. But
Right.
it makes it hard for me to rely on others, especially when it comes to business, right? Leaning on others to help out, and you know, being a solopreneur can be extremely lonely. It's very lonely at times, and which is great about your show is it helps me see and connect and relate with other folks out there that are experiencing that same struggle. And that's really where it helps out quite a bit, is
Yay!
because
That's why
yeah,
I'm
right.
awesome.
And it does, because then you can hear the stories and the journey from other people, and you're like, oh, I'm not alone. Like you're these people are dealing with the same things too, and it helps me specifically, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not alone, right? I may not know these people personally, but I know that I'm not alone in these feelings, in these challenges, in this adversity I'm facing and trying to start and launch this business. um the positive aspect of it all is that it's made me pretty tough in terms of being able to persevere through challenge. And then obviously building a career in Hollywood, basically, I mean, that helps out quite a bit too. It helps thicken your skin up a bit. It's not an easy business to start a career in. So you kind of take these experiences and you use them to your advantage where you can and when you can. um, it's it's not easy. It has not been easy, but through it all, I've been able to. I was an athlete. I on my own put my solicit myself to get scholarships as an athlete, and um, basically moved to LA with $150 in my pocket and all my stuff in my car, and crashed on a friend's couch and started a career in TV and built that career up over a number of years. I've done that with very little help along the way, and I've been able to do it all on my own. And I think that has been a real positive for me when I come to start Heights Apparel, because I've seen a lot of adversity. I've personally and professionally, and I've faced challenges. And even though I still have moments of doubt, everybody does. I can push through that a lot easier nowadays, because I know, one, I wholeheartedly believe in what I'm doing, and I think that helps. But I know that I'm not the only person out there, and knowing that helps quite a bit.
Scott, you make my heart sing when you talk about what you're saying. Is the reason why I'm interviewing fabric designers is to support fabric, but also to support you guys. So, all your just for your future information, all on YouTube. When you go to the YouTube channel, just youtube.micalizzienterprises.com, or you can go to relentlesstalkradio.com and link to the YouTube. That's the easiest way to do it. There'll be a playlist that'll have all of the fabric designers there, so you can listen to
Cool.
it and you can share it with other people and that kind of thing. So you'll be able to, not have to scroll through on Facebook, or you can do it that way. You can always watch the interviews on Facebook. But the reason why I started Relentless Talk Radio is because I've been entrepreneurial my whole life. I was raised by an entrepreneur. My godfather was an entrepreneur. My grandparents on both sides are entrepreneurs. I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs. And this is not an easy thing to either be forced to do or choose to do. Because you might have the best intentions and the best idea, but at 4 o'clock in the morning when things aren't going your way, it's easy just to give up. I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people that work in cubicles every day, and there's nothing wrong with that don't want to go through the pain of being an entrepreneur, or too afraid to be going through the pain of being an entrepreneur. But if you don't go through the pain of it, then you don't ever get the big wins. You don't ever get
Right.
Ralph Lauren or Coco Chanel or the next person. And I just think that your brand is so unique and so necessary and so benevolent, quite frankly, because you and I pre-interview were talking about how it feels to be to have clothing fit the right way. So part of what I do is health and fitness, and so you and I have a sports background too. If you're not healthy, then you don't want to shop for clothing because you're so busy hiding. You're not trying to look pretty in your clothes. You're just trying to get
Right.
through the day. You're trying to hide. And I think that you're bringing to the table something that's also, people who aren't able to gain weight. I mean, that's like
Right.
seriously another issue for people with health and fitness. But if you are by nature a narrow person, some people aren't, you're not underweight, you're just tall and narrow.
Absolutely. Well, what's so funny is and I get this a lot because people think I can eat whatever the heck I want to eat because I'm skinny. Just because you're skinny does not mean you're healthy.
Amen,
Just
right?
just because you're skinny does not mean you're healthy, and that's what I try to tell people, is, like, I can't eat whatever, especially now that I'm not an athlete anymore.
Right.
That was the biggest challenge, was altering my diet. I used to eat, like, 6,000 calories or more a day. I
Yeah.
can't do that now,
Yeah.
even though I'm
Or you'll go
skinny,
to
like,
the big store.
right, exactly, right?
You know,
So, and to go to your point about health, for me, it's been a lot about mental health. Um, I do I suffer from depression, and I've battled with it for many years, and it wasn't until I hit about my 30s where it really started to surface.
it kicks your ass too, doesn't it?
It does, and
Yeah.
it's tough, especially that was during the period right where my son was born. That was coming from a broken home, and my son was born, and it just kind of all this
Still.
backlog of emotional baggage just surfaced out of nowhere, and I had no idea how to manage it, and it put me in some dark places at times. And thankfully, my wife is a godsend, and she helps me get through those days, and we've kind of understood kind of when that happens, and just let me do what I need to do, and I still suffer it, and that's why this brand is so important to me, is because it was about, sure, tall clothing, make us feel better, but it was about how we present ourselves to the world. A lot of times, tall guys, we get called out, we get gawked at in public, we get pointed at in public, we get asked numerous amounts of questions about how tall we are.
Myself asking, like, are you a football player, basketball
Oh
player?
my gosh, yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. I
Right?
mean, I used to literally, when I was younger, I used to get asked how if I played basketball, and I'm not exaggerating
15
when I
times
say
a day.
this,
I've been,
at least several times a week.
yeah.
Just that one question, and it gets old after a while, and it really became about, let's be tall, let's be proud about let's stand up on it. Like, I go to a concert, I don't care if I'm standing at the front row of the concert and you can't see. I bought the same
Yeah.
ticket as you have, right?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
be
what
proud.
because I'm yeah. You know what
It-
people would say to me, because I'm 5'8", so that's pretty tall, maybe 5'7.5" now. I'm shrinking a little bit, but I'm also muscular, and I'm Italian. I've got this big personality, evidently, and
yeah.
people will always think I'm violent.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, don't hit me. I'm like, why would I hit you? Right? I've had one fight my whole entire life, and I've had a couple times where I've pushed people. I mean, I'm not an angel, but I'm not like,
Right,
don't worry, I'm not going to eat your young. I mean, like, really? Are
right.
you kidding? Like, just because I'm fit, I'm going to beat you up? Maybe I should,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah. You keep asking me these questions, I will.
yeah, I mean, it's not like I've been stellar in my life. We've all had moments where we've lost our temper, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm just by nature a violent person. It's kind of funny. If you're strong and muscular, like my partner is a big muscular bodybuilder kind of guy, and it's really funny to watch people like move away from him sometimes.
Right.
It's scary. He's tattooed. He's a biker. He's gonna kill you. Although
Yeah. Well,
he won't today.
right. Well, he's probably a teddy bear, right? Like, I
Yeah,
have a brother-in-law
exactly.
that's a former bodybuilder and stuff like that. He's a total teddy bear.
Exactly.
It's funny. It's interesting because, like, I would when I was playing ball, I would go out with my teammates. We're all 6'5", 6'6", 6'7"
Right.
plus, and that sort of thing. We go out to it, have a drink and stuff like that, and you'd be amazed by how many other guys would pick fights with us.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out, having a good time, but other people would literally pick fights because they see the height, and there's the
They challenge
testosterone.
you.
Guys we're boneheads. Guys are boneheads,
100%.
and so it's just funny. And I just want to be able to have people, one, feel comfortable in their own skin,
Yep.
but two, not hide themselves from things they have zero control over.
Absolutely. I was just talking with a girlfriend this morning about how, like, as a strong woman who, I mean, I don't think that my appearance is my strongest skill set. My heart's my strongest skill set. But sometimes people will see a strong, tall, independent, ambitious woman. And like Madonna has a quote that says, you know, if being that makes me a bitch, then so be it. But
Right.
you know, what'll happen is other women will not talk to you or ghost you,
Right.
or you know, because that now it's that competition thing. Isn't it interesting? That's why I always love to talk up the strong people,
Yeah.
because we know, to get back to your challenges in life, like, you know, I got sober almost 20 years ago, right? That wasn't like a simple thing. Like I made a decision to stop consuming drugs and alcohol for a reason, right?
Right.
Well, you
Right.
know, so if you see me as a strong, independent, you know, can do it person, you come up and you're mean to me, well, guess what? I bleed like everybody else. It still
Yep.
hurts me, you know? I'm
Absolutely.
going to go on anyway, just like you are, because I have that independence like you do. I'm going to make it happen, which is going to get me to my next question for you. I'm going to make it happen, but I might have to like take a second, okay, to have
Right.
myself a good cry. I recently had a networking partner lay into me about a misunderstanding. And I was like, whoa, in the middle of the conversation, you do realize you have me in tears right now, right? And he said, what do
Wow.
you do, Michelle? You're a badass. You don't cry. I went, really? Ask the people closest to me how often I cry, and they'll tell you a different story. I just think
Yep.
that, you know, this size and strength thing, for people who are weaker, I tell you, I always tell people, I'm not afraid of the strong people. I'm afraid of the weak ones.
Yep. No, exactly.
Because the
And
weak
that's the
ones are
thing.
scary. Those are the ones that are going to stab you, shoot you, hurt
Yep.
you, yell at you, talk bad about you, gossip about you, try to hold you down. That king
Yeah.
of the mountain complex, where if they see you with somebody that's on top of the mountain, they want to knock you off. You
They'll
know,
do
kind of
it's whatever it takes to make them feel better. It's not about
their
you.
stuff.
It's
It's 100%
about
their stuff.
their things that they have going on, and that's it took me a long time. It took me a long time, and it, you know, obviously it's still a work in progress. But like, I had such low self worth of my self image, a lot of negative self talk, a lot of, and that's hard when you're an athlete
Oh
and
yeah,
you have that negative self talk, and especially in a sport like volleyball where it's mostly of a mental game.
yeah.
um it's taken it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work to shed that. And I
Some days
feel
are
like
better
that.
than others, though. I mean, it's the same thing for me. Some days I just don't leave the house because I just like, yep,
Yeah.
today's not a day I'm
Yeah.
doing
I mean,
people.
it's real.
Oh,
It's just being real.
it's a real thing for sure. So that
So,
kind of leads me to the last thing I want to talk about, which will almost the last thing. I'm going to let people know I've got your website scrolling across the bottom, but now I just love it when I have these conversations live, because you're getting to see my like, oh, I get it. The make
yeah,
it happen theme of your brand is super duper flippin' important, because you're
absolutely.
making it happen every day. You're an example of what it looks like to make it happen. Like I'm an example of what it looks to be relentless or fearless, right?
Yeah.
So tell
I
me
mean,
more about the make it happen tag.
oh man, it's and I'm trying to recall exactly when I started to call that out as specifically, but it was, you know, there was a lot of up and downs. You know, the past few years, especially in the early days when I was trying to, I had this. I mean, like I can't explain enough, like how in my heart I am so extremely passionate about this apparel brand and this newfound obsession. That's exactly what it is. It's become an obsession. This newfound obsession that I have in Heights Apparel. Um, it was probably a couple years ago, and this was early before I even met Angela, before I discovered fabric, and I was just going through a tough time career wise, and I just knew that I had these ideas. I had a lot of research and information, and um, one thing that my wife said to me was, "Make it happen, figure it out, and you'll make it happen."
Yep,
And she's like,
figure
"You
it
always
out.
do it, and you always do. You always figure out a way to make it happen, whether it be like income or this or that. It doesn't matter." Like she always has said that. And
I
then
got
one
a
year for
stick.
Christmas,
She's
she
not
got
gonna
me a
stick with it.
bracelet
Awesome.
that says "Make it happen" on it, and
Yeah.
I've been wearing it ever since. And that's literally just kind of where it all started. And then when I got fired from that job, she said it again. Well, make it happen. And it's kind of stuck since then. And it's
That's
become the
awesome.
philosophy of not only me personally, but it's something that I wanted to apply to the brand, because I know that everybody out there is struggling with something, or has an idea, has an ambition, has a goal, has a dream that they want to achieve, whether big or small, it doesn't matter. But everybody needs someone in their life to tell them to make it happen.
You know, your wife sounds extraordinary. I have to meet this chick.
Yeah, she's amazing. You would love her.
That's awesome. I mean, and it's true. I mean, the reality is at the end of the day is that, you know, if we don't do it, no one's going to do it for us.
Right.
We are 100% accountable and responsible, both for picking ourselves off the floor when we're down and for lifting ourselves up higher when we're in a trajectory that moving in that direction. I mean, it's really our responsibility. I mean, we are responsible for making that happen. And, you know, you decided just to kind of stay, you know, as a production person only, and would have been nothing wrong with that because you have a great career and you're doing great things. But to take on a huge project, this is a huge thing. So people can find you at shopheightsapparel.com. How else can they locate you?
We're on Instagram, Heights_apparel. You can find us on Facebook, Heights Apparel. Right now, that's where I'm primarily focused. But in 2020, I definitely am looking to get out into some more of the physical spaces around the Phoenix area, to have table representation, just be more physical in festivals or whatever it may be. So I'm looking at those opportunities now. And that's kind of
TikTok yet?
What's that?
Have you looked at TikTok yet?
I have, actually, and I'm looking at that.
I think TikTok would be fun for you.
Yeah, and I would actually. What's funny is I'm going to be in LA for New Year's, and my nieces, who are, you know, so LA, so into they've been on TikTok for a while, so I'm going to talk to my nieces about it, and if it shows how old I am now, that I have to rely on my nieces to give me the 101 on TikTok.
It's a ride. So look up Color My Credit. My friend Melissa Watts, who was just on Relentless Talk Radio about a month or so ago. She's been doing TikToks, and she's got, like, I don't know, one of her recent videos got 150,000 views.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So she and another friend of mine are on TikTok, and one friend got waited and kind of stalked TikTok, which is what I'm doing. I'm stalking TikTok, and I'm looking at the things that are interesting to me. And then she got started, and her videos went up right away.
No way.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Alyssa kind of built more over time, but what's happened is she's got a lot of content. So she kind of chugged for a little bit, and then once people found her, then she kind of hit the roof. So right now I'm currently I'm stalking TikTok right now is what I'm doing, because I got to figure out, like, you know, where my brand fits into that world. But you know, definitely stalk TikTok.
I will. No, I'll definitely start doing that. That's a good idea to do that first before you dive in.
Yeah, well, just to kind of get an idea, because TikTok is paying attention to what you're watching. Have you watched any of Gary Vee's videos on TikTok?
Not on TikTok, but I watch his other stuff, like on LinkedIn and stuff.
Yeah, he's recently, go to his TikTok page and, you know, follow that. And he's also talking about LinkedIn, because both TikTok and LinkedIn, their algorithms are much different than Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, it's more based on what Facebook and Instagram dictate. Where LinkedIn, everyone sees your stuff. It's like a constant thing. But TikTok is more about what people are actually looking at. So their algorithm is people driven as opposed to TikTok driven right now. Okay. So it's kind of a cool thing, because you can actually make yourself go viral based upon what people are actually watching, as opposed to Facebook or Instagram controlling a little bit more about what you're watching.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
So Scott, we went totally over time, and I knew that was going to happen. That's why I love that you were the second interview, because we don't have anybody after you. I knew we'd have a lot to talk about, and you know, it's Christmas Eve right now, so people may have wanted to get away from their families, and so we've done them a service.
Right, need a family break. Great time.
So probably what I'm going to do is at the end of 2020, I'm going to have a fabric party. Okay. And all the folks that I've interviewed throughout the year will get to meet each other, and maybe we'll do some kind of fashion show together. You never know. I don't know. We'll dream. That'd
be pretty dope. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today, pre-holiday.
Thank you
very much for your genuine, your genuine nature and your authentic delivery. I really appreciate that about you. And thank you so much for creating something super original.
No, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Okay, you take care of yourself, and have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right, guys. So That's it. Episode 52 is a wrap, and it's wherever you are, it's Christmas Eve. I hope that you're spending time with your family, and that you're maybe if you're doing church tonight, you're doing that. And you can come on back on Tuesday next week, and we will be starting the new year. So I have a lineup next week that's going to be very interesting. I won't even tell you what it is. You have to come back and check it out. So Relentless Talk Radio, episode 52. The first year of Relentless Talk Radio is a wrap. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a great day.